Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that you all are well, enjoying your learning. Today we are solving one more paper, that is Cambridge IGCSE Paper 1 Computer Science, that is Computer Systems 0478 Paper 1-2, October-November 2024. The duration of the paper is 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed. A few instructions that we need to follow. You have to answer all the questions. Use a black or dark blue pen. You are allowed to use an HB pencil for any diagrams or graphs. Write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes at the top of the page. Write your answer to each question in the given space. You're not allowed to use an erasable correction fluid or erasable pen. So please refrain from carrying these to the examination hall. You have to answer in the given space. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in this paper. Marks for this paper is 75, and the number of marks for each question or part question is shown in brackets. There is no mark awarded for using the brand names, so please refrain from using the brand names of software packages or hardware. Let's start. Question number 1. Different types of software can be run on a computer. State what is meant by software. What is software? You have been studying since your childhood. So simple answer, instructions or program that is used to operate a computer, or in the student can say it is their instructions or programs that are needed to operate hardware. That will give you 1 out of 1. Part B. Utility software is one type of software that can be run on a computer. Tick one box to show which software is an example of utility software. So what can you write? Spreadsheet? Definitely not. Antivirus? Yes. Web browser? A big no. Databases? A big no. So what are they basically? So the right answer for this one is antivirus. You have ticked antivirus, and you have scored 1 out of 1. Okay. Now let's move to the next part. Identify the type of software that manages inputs and outputs for the computer. And you know it very well. It's called an operating system, or anyone can say system software. They both are correct, because an operating system is needed to manage the inputs and outputs inside a computer system. Now, data storage, question number 2. Data storage can be measured using different units of measurement. Identify the name of the smallest unit of measurement of data. Smallest unit is a bit. Please be very careful. It's not a byte, because this is what a student can write. Be careful. The smallest storage unit is a bit. Part B. State how many nibbles are there in 2 bytes. I hope that we all remember that 1 byte has 8 bits and 1 nibble is 4 bits. So it means 1 byte has 2 nibbles. So how many nibbles will there be in 2 bytes? If 1 byte has 2 nibbles, then definitely 2 bytes have 4 nibbles. So the answer for this one is simple. You simply write 4, and that will give you 1 out of 1. Part C. Now this one is needing your attention. A 10-second sound effect is recorded for a movie. It is recorded with a sample rate of 22,016 Hertz and a sample resolution of 8 bits. Calculate the file size of the sound effect in kilobytes. Show all your working. Now, this is the topic that we already have covered, if you recall. You have studied it. The video for calculation of file size is also available. So the ones who are facing problem, they can watch that video also. So this is very simple. What you need to remember, we actually take these 3 values and multiply them, like sample rate, multiply by sample resolution, multiply by the value in seconds. So these three values will be multiplied and the result will be in bits. Now the question says to convert it into kilobytes. So first of all, it means since the answer is coming in bits, so I'll be dividing it by 8 to convert it to bytes. And the answer will further be divided by 1024 to convert it to kilobytes. I think this is what we already know. The only difference here is basically for your calculation of sound file is coming here. So no worries at all. Things remain the same. And one caution, when you are doing it, the calculations, please do not multiply. Just write the whole answer and see if it's possible to cancel it out. And then you can get the right answer in a shorter time. So the students who make this mistake of doing the multiplication and then division, they are the ones whose time is wasted, as well as they may not get the right answer. So please just follow the instructions and you will inshallah get the right result. Just remember this key principle. Whenever you get a question of calculation of file size, always concentrate on writing down the whole answer first, writing the whole values first, and then, if possible, you can show the simplification and get the answer in the end. So 22016 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 10 will be in numerator, and denominator will contain 8 and 1024. Do you want to try it out? Just one simple thing. You can take a value, some value that is completely dividing the numerator and the denominator, any number. If you're okay with a bigger number, that's wonderful, since you have been doing this practice in math. But the ones who are facing problem, you can see all the numbers are even numbers, means they all can be divided by 2. 22016 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 10. And okay, now let me show you a little bit of this so you can see for yourself. This is what I was saying. 22016 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 10 is your numerator. Then denominator is 8 into 1024. And we have simply cancelled out 8 and 8. And we are left with 22016 into 10 in the numerator and 1024 in the denominator. And we simply did what? Like for your convenience, I've done it. Let me tell you, I've actually divided 1024 and 22016 by 8. Like I did it. Before I finished this whole working, I tried to do it and I found that 1024 is dividing in this manner. 8 times 1 is 8 and 2 remainder is carried here, 22. 8 times 2 is 16, remainder 6, 64. 8 times 8 is 64. And similarly, 8 times 2 is 16, then we are left with 6, 60, then it will be 20, it will be 7. 8 times 7 is 56, then we have the 4 remainder, 41. 8 times 5 is 40, 1 remainder, and then 8 times 2 is 16. So it means if I divided 1024 and 22016 by 8, I got 128 in denominator and 2752 in the numerator. And then further division was done again by 8, as you can see. 8 times 1 is 8, 4 remainder 48, 8 times 6 is 48. And again division done by 8. 8 times 3 is 24, 3 remainder carried here, 35. 8 times 4 is 32, 3 remainder, and then 8 times 4 is 32. And then we got 344 in the numerator and 16 in the denominator. And now we can cancel it very easily by 2. 8 times 2 is 16, and 8 times 43 will be giving me 344. 8 times 4 is 32, 2 remainder, 24. 8 times 3 is 24, and I got 43 and 16 in the denominator. 43 in the numerator, 16 in the denominator. Then it was simply again done 8 times 2, like again cancellation is done, and we are left with 2 and 10 in the numerator. 2 and 10 are cancelled out, and we got 43 into 5 in the numerator and nothing in the denominator, and our final answer was 215. So I'm giving you a minute to just tally your calculations with mine. If they are matching, then it's great. Otherwise, you can redo it and you will definitely be getting the same answer. Again, a suggestion. I took 8 because, I tried with different values and I figured out that 8 was completely dividing the number. So I divided it by 8 rather than showing a lot of calculations. This is going to be an easier method which was followed by me for you people. Now got it, the same answer? Maybe move ahead. Okay. The sound effect file is compressed for storage. State what is meant by file compression. This is part D, and you know it very well. Reducing the size of the file is the meaning of file compression. Give one benefit of compressing the file for storage. So since they're mentioning the term storage here, that's why what is the benefit of compression? It takes up lesser storage space. Since they have mentioned the term storage, that's why I'm not going to talk about any other thing at all. Please be cautious. I didn't mention any other term because they had talked about compressing the file for storage. So definitely it has to be linked with storage, and I'll simply write it will take up it will consume lesser storage space, and you will gain 1 out of 1. Question number 3. A user enters data that is hexadecimal into a computer system. The data is converted to binary to be processed by the computer. Give one similarity between hexadecimal and binary. This is the first A1, and this seems confusing, but this is so simple. They both are number systems. Now, give 2 differences between hexadecimal and binary. Okay, that's wonderful, Ali. One difference is the base. Your hexadecimal is base 16, while binary is base 2. Correct. Any other difference? Okay, that's wonderful. Hexadecimal is able to work on values from 0 to 9 and letters A to F, while binary is working on 0 and 1 only. So that is the answer. Binary uses only base 2 and base 16, as was mentioned by Ali. The next one is going to be binary only uses numbers, whereas hexadecimal is using letters also along with numbers. Or if a student can mention binary as 0 or 1, and hexadecimal can be from 0 to 9 and then letters A to F. So that will give you 2 out of 2. Part B, question number 3. Data that is denary can also be converted to binary. Give the binary number for each of the 3 denary numbers. Now the numbers are 15, 180, and 235. So for your understanding, it's done for you. But for that, you need to remember these values, please. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. This is the whole byte value. You need to remember this. And simple, 15 means 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. So this will give you 15. Simple. For 180, as we have done, if you recall, 180 means the number is bigger than 128. So you will simply turn on this bit. And once you have turned on this bit, then what you will do? Then you will see that 180 minus 128. So which bit should then be turned on? Definitely not 64, because the answer will be a bigger number. So then you turn on 32. So 128 plus 32, subtract the result, and what are you left with? You have turned on 16 also. So 32 and 16 is 48 exactly. So we have learned it, no? So 128 plus 48 will give you something that is closer to 128. So what is the value that is left is 4. So in this manner, 128 plus 32 plus 16. You have calculated this, and then you figured out that only 4 is left. That's why you have turned on 4. And in this manner, you got this answer of 1011010010110100. And now you can do 235. 235 is okay. Now just giving you a hint what we can do actually. You can see 235, what is the maximum value in a byte? The maximum value in a byte is 255. So 235 is minus 20. It means what we did is we simply had turned off 16 and 4, and the rest of the bits are on. Like this is just giving you a hint. You can do it that way also. Perfectly okay. You can keep on turning on those bits, which when which when added give you the fun result of 235. But just giving you a tip, the way we have learned 64 and 32 is 96. The way we have learned 32 and 16 is 48. Similarly, giving you a tip that since the number is 255 for the whole byte, and 235 is actually like what I really wanted is 255 minus 235 is going to be your value 20. So what we did here is we have simply turned off 16 and 4 that make up 20, and the rest of the bits are turned on. This is what I wanted. I mean, just this has come to my mind right now, just to tell you that this is how you can also solve your answers for quick and accurate answers also, and then you can check yourself. I'm not asking you not to check. Definitely, you will be verifying your answers yourself, and this is going to definitely give you the same result. Okay. You can even show it in the workspace the way we had done it right now. Perfectly okay. You do it, it's perfectly okay. You don't do it, that's perfectly okay. Up to you. Now, final answers, once the working space is used, are written here, and this will give you 3 out of 3. Any questions? Okay, part C. Denary numbers can also be converted to hexadecimal. Give the hexadecimal number for each of the 3 denary numbers, 14, 100, and 250. Now, again, for the same purpose, 14 is, I guess we remember, like A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14, and F is 15. So please it's the denary number. So that is why you will simply recall the denary number 14 means E. That is the trick actually. Like that may confuse some of the students. They may consider this to be 1 and 4, and they make the binary for 1 and 4. So that is why be clear, since it is a denary number to be converted to hexadecimal, that's why we simply wrote E here and we have scored the marks. 400, what we did, like this is what is another method. We have learned this way also in the class. Again, telling you, you can convert denary to hexadecimal by following these stages. What you do is you convert a denary number to its equivalent binary, and then you convert the binary number to its equivalent hexadecimal value. This is perfectly possible. You can do it this way also. Okay, now this is a hint that I'm giving you. This is what you can actually do, that you can simply convert a denary number to its equivalent binary number and then convert that value into its equivalent hexadecimal number. And the same is done here for you people. 100. We found the binary for 100, that is 64, 32, and 4. The same. We have written denary number to be converted to binary. And for that, you can see 64, 32, and 4 makes it 100. And then what we did is, we have simply then made a nibble. And you can see this is nibble 1 and this is nibble 2. And here we got is to be 4, because 1 to 4, and similarly 1 to 4 here also. And you got 1 to 4. This is 4 and 2 is 6. That's why you got this to be 6 and this to be 4. I think we have done a few questions in the class also. If you're okay with the method that we have learned in the class, that's perfectly okay. This method also we have done. So we simply convert the Denry number to its binary value, and then we apply the same as 1248 thing that we have learned, and then you will get your required answer. May I show you? Okay, now it will be 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 2, 4, and 8. So here you can see this is giving you 4, the way we have seen this bit to be on, and this will give you 4 plus 2 as 6. Okay. Now 250. 250 again, if we apply the same principle, we have found the binary for 250, and we have turned on all the bits except for 4 and 1, and we got this answer. And once we are done with this, like here we have found the binary for 250, and once we are done with this, we are going to convert it to nibble 1248 and again 1248. And since all the 4 bits are on, that's why it will be F for 15. It's 8 plus 2 is 10, that is A. That is why your answer for this is FA. 64 for 100 and FA for 250. Any questions? Okay, the ones who are okay with the other method, that's perfectly okay. Both the methods are okay, no problem at all. Maybe move ahead. Okay. A binary integer that is stored in a register in the computer has a logical left shift performed on it. Describe the process of the logical left shift that is performed on the binary integer. Now, this is something that is for the first time that we can see this question. So here we are expected to explain how we performed the left shift. So how do we do it? I mean, we all know how we do it, but here we have to explain it just like maybe you are explaining to a student, or maybe you're explaining to any other, maybe any friend of yours. So just keep this in mind, and then you will be able to score 2 out of 2 if you have written the right description. Like for you people, I'm sharing the right answer that they expect the students to write. All the bits in the binary are shifted, like all the bits, each bit or each digit in the binary number is shifted or it's moved to the left. And when this shifting is being done to the left, definitely it means your most significant bit will be lost. A student can say the leftmost bit is lost. A student can say most significant bit is lost. That's perfectly okay. Because in this case, when you're performing a binary shift, left shift, it means that you're like just telling you this example from here. Assume I was supposed to go for this shift here. So what will happen here then? Definitely it means this number, like for example, if I'm performing left shift, this number will be moving out to the right. And this what you know is MSB, or most significant bit. So if a student says the leftmost bit is lost, he is okay. Another student says that the most significant leftmost bit is lost, or most significant bit is lost. They both are correct. And definitely, it's not only that. A 0 is added in the right position. So if, for example, this bit is lost from here, so it means all the bits will be moved one place to the left. So this one will come here, this one will come here, this one will come here, this one comes here, 0 comes here, 1 comes here, and 0 comes here. So this position will be empty. So it will be now 0 will be here. So that will give you a 0 is added as the rightmost bit, or a 0 is added in the least significant as the least significant bit. That will give you 2 out of 2. If you have explained it the way we have explained you in the class, the way we learn it through different videos, etc. So in this manner, if you have explained it to your examiner, then you will be scoring 2 out of 2. That's what you have to work on. Explanation, exactly. Now, state what effect this will have on the binary integer. So what is the effect of this shifting? So you can take help from this from the same. Left shift means the number is multiplied by 2. So by the way, we remember left shift means multiplied and right shift means divide. One shift means multiply by 2, two shift means multiply by 4, three shift means multiply by 8. In this manner, we know we have done. So in this case, simple question, simple answer, the number is multiplied by 2. Okay, the next part E. A negative binary integer needs to be stored in a register in the computer. Give the name of the number system that can be used to represent negative binary integers. A very simple answer, 2's complement. So in this manner, you write that simple question and you are able to score 1 out of 1. Okay, question number 4. A student has a smartwatch. The smartwatch has built-in input and output devices. Identify 2 input devices that can be built into the smartwatch. So which are the input devices that you can see in a smartwatch? Touch screen, correct. Microphone, because it can get the verbal instructions, or we send the we can give some instructions to it also. Button, digital camera, or it can have some sort of sensors. So you are asked to identify 2 input devices. So if a student has identified any of these 2, he will be scoring 2 out of 2. Okay, identify 1 output device that can be built into the smartwatch. So screen, speakers, LEDs, actuators. You were supposed to identify only 1. So if you have written this answer, any one output device written, so you will be definitely scoring your mark for output device. Screen, speaker, LED or actuator. Now, the smartwatch has read-only memory or ROM. Explain why the smartwatch needs ROM. And you know, ROM is there to store the BIOS. ROM is there to store the bootstrap. It is there to help the smartwatch, to help the startup of the smartwatch, or I can say it is there to store the startup instructions. Or if a student can write firmware, that's perfectly okay also. And if a student simply writes that it is there to store the permanent instructions or to store the data permanently, and if anyone else wants to explain that he wants to explain that it is there to store the instructions that are not needed to change, that should always remain constant, that should never be deleted or updated. So in that case, that is going to be the answer that they expect the student to write, the reason of using ROM in smartwatch. The simple question that you have learned earlier, just ask with respect to the smartwatch and you will be scoring your marks. No difficulty at all. Yes, exactly. We have done it with respect to our remote control cars, the use of ROM in remote control cars. We have learned in the class also the use of ROM in our microwave oven. So simple, the same thing, to store the BIOS, to store the bootstrap, to store firmware, to store the boot up instructions or startup instructions, or if you want to write that, it's simple answer that you want the data to be non-volatile, you want the data to be permanent there, you don't want to change the data. So that in that case, you will definitely be needing ROM. Part D. The smartwatch uses a text message application that receives data from cloud storage. Describe what is meant by cloud storage. Simple question. What is this cloud storage? You know it very well. It's a 2-mark question. You know, a collection of remote servers, and that allows data to be accessed remotely, that stores the data in a remote location. Hardware can be owned by a third party, and definitely whatever is stored on the cloud storage is accessed using the internet. So if you have actually explained it in simple words, a collection of remote servers that can be accessed using internet, that is a very comprehensive answer. You will definitely be scoring 2 out of 2. So the options that are mentioned here are actually 4 points, but out of these 4, they will be expecting you to write 2 very valid points, and that is why I've said if you write a collection of remote servers that can be accessed using the internet, that is definitely going to be a very good answer, considered to be a very good answer. Explain two benefits of the application using cloud storage. Why do we need cloud storage? And you know it very well. Now, the mentioned points are very simple, which you have studied in the class, and we have assessed you also. There is no need to maintain the hardware, like you don't have to use any storage medium for storing any of your data. And because the third party is there to maintain the hardware, like you don't have to worry at all about maintaining the hardware, about security of the data, because that is the job. The maintenance, the security of your data is now the responsibility of the company that whose cloud storage you are using. And in this case, what else you can write? Resources can be increased, or you have unlimited storage capacity, as you can see that once we are using any, like again, just for explanation, I'm giving this example of your cloud storage that you use, and that is there. Like you don't have to worry at all. The data is stored there permanently. Your Google Drive, I want to mention Google Drive. So definitely you don't have to worry about it. It has really quite a good capacity is given to you. Seems to be unlimited, although it is not. And we don't have to worry at all that we are going to run out of space. And in this manner, I don't have to buy the storage. Like I don't have to buy the storage, much of the storage for my own self. And I don't have to worry at all about the data access also. Once the data is saved on Google Drive, just as an example, please do not mention it in your answer. You can access it from anywhere. You are at home, you can access your data from the cloud storage. You are at your workplace, you can get it from there. You are in school, you can access it from there. So that is the biggest advantage. If, for example, you can if the watch breaks, so still the data will be available because it is on the cloud. So you don't need storage space on the watch, because definitely watch is smaller in size, so lesser storage is perfectly okay, because most of your data is stored on the cloud. So in this manner, the cost that you have to incur, the cost that has to be incurred by the manufacturer in case of storage will be reduced also. So very simple benefits that can easily come into our mind. Some of them are very straightforward, as we have been using. So you can simply write down any of these two points with explanation, and you will be scoring 4 out of 4. Please be careful. Explanation questions, descriptive questions means that you have to write in description, like you have to explain it. Otherwise, you will not be scoring any mark at all. Or you will be scoring only the mark for the writing down the key points. No mark will be awarded because you didn't explain. Be cautious, and inshallah, you will be able to score. Part E. The smartwatch only displays the time and text messages. A student incorrectly describes this smartwatch as a general purpose computer. Explain why the student's description is incorrect. Now you can see why it's incorrect, because you can see for yourself. General purpose means it is for many things, like the ones that we use, the computer that we use, it's a general purpose. But when you talk about the smartwatch, its task is limited. It's there only to display the time and the text messages, as is mentioned here. So it means it can perform only a dedicated task. It can only perform limited functions. And that's why it's going to be a special purpose one and not a general purpose one. Because the ones that we use for many functions, like for example, the same computer we are using for doing our work, the same computer we are using for programming, the same computer we are using for watching the movies, for listening to the songs, for browsing, that is a general purpose one. But when you talk about your smartphone, your smartwatch, as is mentioned here, is only there to display the time and the text messages. That's why it's a dedicated machine. It's not a general purpose computer. So, because again, another thing is you cannot plug in peripherals in it, and you cannot reprogram the smartwatch. That's not possible. We cannot install many software on this, and it would have a microprocessor and not a CPU. No, we are expecting the general purpose computer to have CPU, central processing unit. But while we talk about our a smartwatch that is only containing a microprocessor that is there to perform dedicated tasks. That's why we are going to treat this is going to give you 2 out of 2. Question number 5. A barcode scanning system uses a check digit to check for errors in data on input. Explain how the barcode scanning systems operates to check for errors. Now, this is something that we have been doing in the class, like we have asked you, and you were the ones who answered. So let's see, what is the check digit doing and how is it calculated? So this is what they expect the student to write. A check digit is calculated. First of all, you talk about the calculation of check digit in the beginning will be done using any of the, like using the barcode data, and you can use any of the algorithm. Like a student can say modulo 11 and this student can say ISBN 13. That's perfectly okay. So very first stage, it's a 4-mark question. So first thing is they're expecting the student to write what is done in the beginning. A check digit calculation is done using the barcode data, and definitely an algorithm is there. Like, for example, modulo 11, or you can say ISBN 13, and that calculated value will be added to the barcode. This is stage number 1. After that, when the barcode is scanned, the check digit is recalculated. Okay, and algorithm remains the same. For example, while the calculation was done in the first go, we used modulo 11. So when we are performing the scanning process, then the same algorithm will be used. It's not possible that some other algorithm will be used. Exactly the same procedure, the same algorithm will be used for rechecking also, for while the scanning is being done. If the check digits are not matching, it means an error has occurred. While if the check digits are matching, it means there is no error and it is accurate. And this is how you will be scoring 4 out of 4. First of all, you mentioned the calculation of check digit. After that, using like any algorithm, then the scanning is done. Again, a recalculation is done. After that, check the comparison of the first value with the recalculated value. If the two are equal, it means it is accurate. If the two are not equal, it means an error is there. And in this manner, 4 marks are yours. Exactly. That just means a little bit of, you can say, presence of mind that you have to answer how you have to answer. Okay. Part B. After a barcode is scanned, data is sent to a stock control system to update the stock value stored for that product. The data is sent to the stock control system using serial simplex data transmission. Serial simplex data transmission. Explain how the data is sent using serial simplex data transmission. And you know very well, serial means and simplex means what. So for this, what they expect you to do is they expect the student to mention the answer using the right. Let me do it so you can actually recall. Serial means what? Serial means bits are sent down a single wire, 1 bit at a time. So this is the explanation for your serial. Okay. And simplex means simplex and duplex, as you remember. Simplex means one direction. So that is data is sent in one direction only. So in this manner, what they expect you, see, it's so simple. It's a 3-mark question, means that you have to write 3 valid points. Serial means 1 bit at a time over a single wire. You know it very well. So that is what is mentioned here. Bits are sent 1 at a time and bits are sent down a single wire. In this manner, you have scored 2 marks for explaining serial transmission. accurately. The next one is simplex. And simplex means one direction only, and that is going to give you another mark. So 3 marks are yours if you have actually understood how to break down your question and write the right answer. Now, explain why serial simplex is the most appropriate method of data transmission for this purpose. Why this is the most appropriate one? You have understood that it's serial simplex. So it's a 3-mark question also. And you simply have to write the valid points for why serial simplex. And stock control system might be a distance away, and that may happen. So in this case, if it's at a distance, then simplex, then serial is the right option. Parallel is not, because parallel is not feasible for long distances. And in this case, why serial? Because definitely it means that you should just recall. Why serial? Serial means it may be at a long distance. It might be very distant from the location. So that is why serial is the most appropriate option. Nothing is written there. You need to recall your you need to recall your learning. You need to use your intelligence and then answer appropriately. So why serial? Because we want the data to be securely sent. In that case, you are going to choose the option of serial transmission. You want the security of the data. You don't want the data to be skewed. You have to send the data to a longer distance. In that case, you can see parallel is not used in long distance communication, in long distance transmission. And another thing can be, for me, time is not the problem. So that can also be a reason for that, because serial transmission may take longer. So if speed is not my major concern, I'll again go for serial, because that is not my concern. So I can go for serial transmission. As is mentioned here, the data does not need to be sent quickly. The increased speed of parallel is not needed, as only small amount of data needs to be sent. So it can be this reason also, as you can elaborate, just for the purpose of elaborating your answer, you can mention speed is not my major concern. I can send the data in serial, because it might be a small amount of data that needs to be sent, or I want the bits to be sent in order. I don't want the data to be skewed, because in parallel, the data can get skewed. And another one is going to be, there will be less interference when you're talking about the serial transmission, and there will be fewer errors. Now you can see, since we do not want the response back. Now, these are the points that a student can mention to explain, to validate his reason of choosing the serial transmission. Now, why simplex? Because we don't want the response. Our job is just to send the data to stock control system, and there's no reply needed. So that is why no response is needed back. That is why simplex is the best option. Half duplex or full duplex is not needed at all. It's only one way, exactly. We don't want to wait. That's why it's going to be simplex is the right option. Duplex or half duplex is not needed here. See, I'm just teaching you how to answer intelligently. Exactly. You know it. But why is it so that some students are able to score immediately, like very, very easily, and some students are struggling? So my job here is just to make you understand how the questions come in the paper and how you'll be interpreting those questions and then answering them. Okay? Exactly, you know it, mashallah, very well. Now, part 3. The data is checked for errors after it has been transmitted to the stock control system. Give 2 error detection methods that could be used for this purpose. And simple, you know it very well. Simple, you have to write down the reasons, and these are your odd or even parity check. A student can write checksum, echo check, or ARQ. And in this manner, just mentioning the keywords parity check or ARQ, checksum, or echo check, he will be scoring 2 out of 2 here. Question number 6. The table contains names and descriptions of components in a CPU. Complete the table by giving the missing component names and descriptions. So first missing thing is send signals to manage the flow of data through the CPU. So it is control unit or CU. I mean, this is the definition that we have been doing. So it's not difficult. I think you can manage. Program counter, you know it very well. It stores the address of the next instruction to be fetched. So first one was the description was given to you and you were supposed to mention the component name. In the second one, program counter, the component name is mentioned and you need to mention the description, and you know program counter means it is there to store the address of the next instruction to be fetched. Now, the next is the description. Stores the address of the data that is about to be fetched from RAM into the CPU. So stores the address of the data, that is MAR, or memory address register. Now the fourth one transmits data between the RAM and the CPU, that is your data bus, and stores the result. Accumulator is going to be stores the result, interim results for a calculation. So that is your answer for accumulator. What is accumulator doing? It is there to store the result of the calculations. And next one is again the description stores an instruction when it is being decoded, that is for CIR. I think it's very simple. You've understood, you have recalled, and inshallah, you will be able to score the marks. Okay? Current instruction register is the name of the, like it is there to store an instruction when it is being decoded. So instruction while being decoded is stored in CIR, current instruction register. Now, 6 marks are yours. Question number 7. A student enters the Uniform Resource Locator URL for a web page into their tablet computer. State what is meant by a URL. You can simply say a text-based address for a website or a text-based address for a web page. That will give you 1 out of 1. Identify the 2 different parts of a URL. So you remember the parts of a URL are first protocol, then domain name, and then file name. So a student can identify and write any of these 2, and he will be able to score 2 out of 2. So just for your purpose, you have, I have actually written all, but you know that you have to mention any 2. Don't write 3. So if a student says protocol domain name, that's perfectly okay. And the student says protocol file name, he's perfectly okay. Another one says domain name and file name, he's also perfectly okay. Okay? Part C. The student enters the URL into a piece of software that then displays the web page. Identify the name of the software. It's so simple. You need a browser or a web browser. Now, question number, the next part, D. Draw an annotated diagram to show how the web page is located and retrieved to be displayed on the student's tablet computer. So what they expect you to show? The URL sent from web browser to the DNS, and then DNS is going to find the matching IP addresses. It cannot find the URL, it is sent to the next DNS, or you can see until the search will continue until the DNS is able to locate the equivalent IP address, and the IP address is returned to the web browser. And definitely once this is done, then only a two-way communication between the computer and the web server will begin. And this is what they expect the student to do. You have a web browser sending a request to the web server. So the web server will be sending the web pages. But before that, you can see in the beginning, the first stage is you are going to have a communication between browser and the DNS server 1. And the URL will be sent to the DNS server. The DNS server is going to search for the matching IP addresses. If found, well and good. Otherwise, it will be sent to the next one. And then once sent to the next DNS if URL is not found. And then once the DNS is able to find out the IP address, it will be returning the IP address to the web browser. And then the web server will be accessed using the IP address, accessing the IP address, and a two-way communication will now begin. So it's a 5-mark question. And it is somewhat similar to what we have in our book. We learned it, we drew it. But this one is like just the use of boxes, writing down the key concepts, and in this manner, you will be scoring 5 out of 5. And please remember, this is simply an example. Be very clear. It's not the hard and fast rule that every student will be drawing exactly in the same manner, please. But what expect the students to draw and write, this is what is mentioned here. And these are the key points that need to be a part of your diagram, along with the messages written in small, what is happening, and all the marks are yours. Please be very clear about it. Okay? Now, next part. The data from the web page is transmitted using the Secure Socket Layer Protocol, SSL. Complete the paragraph above the SSL protocol. Use only terms from the list. Not all terms need to be used. Some terms may be used more than once. The terms are encrypted, file server, hypertext markup language, HTTP, operating system, search engine, unencrypted, URL, web browser, web server. These are the terms and the passages. The blank asks the blank to identify itself. The blank sends back its digital certificate. The blank authenticates the digital certificate. If it is authentic, blank data transmission begins. Giving you 2 minutes, solve it, and then we will see that whether our answer is accurate or not. Come on. 2 minutes, and your time starts now. Done? Okay, just check your answer. The web browser asks the web server to identify itself. Web browser is asking. The web server sends back its digital certificate. So in this case, it's the web server that is sending back the digital certificate. The web browser authenticates the digital certificate. If it's authentic, encrypted data transmission begins. This will give you 5 out of 5. And you can see web browser and web server is used. Okay? Web browser is used twice, web server is used twice. So this is why they had mentioned that some of the terms might be used more than once. Be very clear. It's the web browser that is asking in SSL, asking the web server to authenticate itself. I remember that we have actually learned through through our web browser also. We showed you that this is how the certificate is there to validate the authenticity of the website. So the web server owns the certificate, and this is its identity. Okay? Any questions? You all scored 5 out of 5? Okay, great. Question number 8. A robot vacuum cleaner uses sensors to navigate around obstacles in a room. Tick one box to show which sensor would be the most suitable for this purpose. Which is the most suitable one? Proximity, flow, pressure, level. Proximity. Yes, you know it very well. An expert system can be used to diagnose an error with a robot vacuum cleaner. Circle 3 components that are part of an expert system. Knowledge base, operating system, firewall, server, printer, actuator, inference engine, rule base, encryption. 3 components of an expert system. Now, may we do it together? Knowledge base? Yes. Any other from this line? Operating system, firewall? No. Server, printer, actuator, inference engine? Yes. And then rule base? Yes. Okay. And in this manner, you have scored 3 out of 3. Any questions? Okay. Explain how the robot vacuum cleaner can make use of machine learning. This is a 3-mark question. So what are they expecting me to write? What is the vacuum? How is it making use of machine learning? So you know machine learning, fine. It could gather the data while it is vacuuming, and it is going to adapt its own processes. And why? What is it adapting? It will see the obstacles, where the obstacles are in the room. It will even know where the dirtier areas are. It will even know the path through the room. And it can even understand what is the shape of the room. Like, this is what, while it is performing this vacuum cleaning process, and it's making use of machine learning, where the system is learning while doing the task. So this is what it will do. It will know the obstacles. It will know which areas are dirtier. It will know which path to follow to clean the room. And it will know the shape of the room. So that is how it will be able to figure out the path it has to use. And it is definitely going to find the most efficient route to perform the vacuum cleaning. And it knows that which areas to be avoided and which areas to be cleaned. And this is going to give you 3 out of 3 if you have applied your knowledge of machine learning in answering this question. Any questions? Okay, Jazakallah Khain Kasira for being a part of the learning journey. Hope that you have understood this whole process. Please watch the other videos of the other papers that are already uploaded. If any query is there, please always drop the comment so we can see what you want us to make the videos on. Share with your friends and family so they all are going to benefit from it. Keep learning, keep sharing. May Allah bless you. May Allah help you.